My name is AZ, a rank 5 hunter with roughly 10 years of hunting in my experience. I'm recording this log as requested by my captain. Apparently some event led to missing archives and information. So now all registered hunters are required to have both a written and recorded log of their hunts, as well as any significant details found outside of one. I was also told to briefly explain more of myself, for the convenience of future researchers who lack the necessary context. Keep it brief. I'm a hunter who primarily patrols the Rainstool region, close to the world capital. Focus mostly on solo hunting, though I do have a party I'll occasionally frequent with. As a primary hunter, I tend to stick with the most straightforward destructive abilities of Black Vao. Vao is an element, and Black Vao is the most destructive form of it. It has proven key in destroying entities, the very beings that threaten our world. Entities came seemingly out of nowhere, when left unchecked, cause great devastation. That is why we hunt, to protect the natural world from their ruination. I plan to continue doing my part to ensure this anomalous entity is destroyed. My most recent hunt happened the day prior. I took up an assignment to take on a rare entity spotted in the southern regions of Rainstool. Reports came from a village of an entity spotted nearby a set of castle ruins. It seems to target nearby individuals who possess some form of heavy metal on them, such as armor or weapons. After there was a report of a missing guard, the case was raised to a higher priority, and I happened to pick it up. This entity is formerly known as 0262, Phantom Armor, a Class 4 entity, subclass hostile. This entity takes the form of a cloudy black mist that is capable of attaching itself to various pieces of equipment, and using such to great effect. These entities are almost always found with some form of weapon or armor, thus giving them their title. The average phantom is found with mismatched suits of armor and one weapon. However, the one that I had tracked down seemed a bit more capable than the rest. I was dropped off via cart as I approached the ruins. According to the history books, the place once belonged to a noble family ages ago, but was destroyed by the first wave of entities some time before we had hunters. Left now as mostly rubble, I made my way into the ruins in search of the target. Following the trail led me to a hollowed-out church at the edge of a small cliff, and there I found a hideout of this entity. The ground lay littered with metal fragments, broken tools and weapons, and unused armor. Hanging from a chain in the corner was a body. Later this was confirmed to be the missing guard. Towards the back lay the entity I came here to slay, though initially it seemed as nothing more than a massive pile of metal parts. Then a black wind crawled its way past me, reaching for the armor. I could tell this must be the entity itself, feeling threatened by another being in its domain. The metal parts began to rise and take shape, and I knew very quickly this was not an ordinary hunt. The creature before me took on 4 arms, standing well above twice my height. The plates of its stolen armor clanked and scrapped against each other as it took on the vague figure of a warrior. A different weapon armed in each hand, it stood me down momentarily, perhaps to intimidate me. I don't use metal armor, so it likely didn't see me as a high priority. Still, I came here to do a job. Despite its unusually large form, I did not flee. I drew my weapon, made a black vow, ready to take its life. This creature and I fought for several long minutes. There was a small space which made avoiding attacks difficult, but his size also worked against him in the same way. The armor was tough. Black Vow, when used correctly, can easily cut through steel. This entity seems to be capable of reinforcing the plates. Instead, I would target the small openings in the armor, able to cut off parts of the entity itself. It is the major advantage of Vow magic, to attack entities such as this one that can become intangible. The more I attacked it, the more aggressive it became, and anytime I got a little careless, I would feel it with a hard cut against my arm or chest. Still, a light bit of bleeding was too little to stop me. Tapping into my reserved power, I was able to swiftly destroy the entity. Anti-armors have a central weak point, a small particle that acts as their brain. It is often the part most heavily reinforced, but enough careful timing and well-placed hits got through its defenses, slaying it for good. As is typical, once the hunt is complete, any salvageable resources are to be taken for either study or use. In this case, the armor touched by a phantom retains its greater durability, and will sell well to hunters in need of it. When writing my report, I made sure to emphasize the strange nature of this one in particular. Looking at the metal it possessed closely, the researchers determined that this entity was especially older than ones commonly found, which suggests that it learned more as it collected more. Some of the equipment they used date back to the pre-hunting era, potentially from the guards of the castle ruins it resided in. Though I personally still don't see much point in these logs, I can't argue that having the details of this strange case should be useful. The entity itself gone, the only accounts the society has to go off of are my own. It's very important we know everything we can about these entities, and this information is vital to that. This will be the first of many, so I hope they prove to be worth someone's time.